Hello all, I just thought I'd show a bit of what I'm doing with this wagon. Because it's such a heavy wagon this, and I've been running it on automation, runs quite a lot on the layout, and I've got it set nicely on certain routes on the layout, but because of the weight of it, I've noticed it's starting to squeak a little bit on some of the axles, and when I got it out of the box brand new, I never oiled it, never oiled any of the axles, which I normally do. So I'm just going to use some light lubricating oil and to lubricate the axles. And what we've got on each set of bogies, we've got 2 floating axles and then 2 rigid axles that go into metal inserts on either side of the bogie. Quite well made, very well designed actually. You've got your traditional European wheel sets in there, so these move around and they articulate round the sharpest of bends. So I'm just going to lubricate all those axles. I've got it carefully turned upside down. You've got to be really careful turning the model upside down because you've got very delicate handrail systems at each end. So I'm just going to take off one of these bogies to have a look inside. So taking the bogie off, one screw, special screw there, and then another screw, self-tapping screw, to take the plastic lower casing off, and that just clips off from each end then. So it's got 2 clips at a securing screw. Carefully move that off and you can see the setup there. On the axle, so I'm just going to oil these up a bit to make them run really smooth. That's a rolling axle. The rolling axle I've already oiled. They're nice and smooth. And these ones that go from side to side are the ones I want. They're the ones I want the oil on as well. So I'm going to do that times 6 and then put it back on the layout. But I'll do measure the weight of the actual wagon and the wagon load separately and then both together and see what the weight is on this wagon. Right, so I've got it on the scales and wagon's been oiled, etc. The plinth on the scale has been neutralised, so the wagon weight in total is about 1.1 kilogram. Yeah, it's about 1.1 kilogram on the scale there. So when I put the load on, it should, I reckon it'll be 1.3 kilogram, but we'll soon find out. So with a load on, it's 1,620, I think, according to that. So it's well over 1.6 kilogram with the load on. And the load is nearly 600 grams. Well, about 600 grams. So it is a very heavy wagon. So you've got to have a really good loco to pull this around the layout. So due to the weight and the pulling power of it for the loco, making sure the loco has good traction tyres. Right, so I'm going to use a Mehano Blue Tiger to pull the wagon. This is what I've been using anyway to pull the wagon around the layout on automation for the last week or so, testing it, etc. on all the routes that's possible with this loco. And this loco is flawless at pulling it because it's 12-wheel drive. All axles are driven. I was a bit worried whether this would be able to handle it because it's quite an intricate loco the way it's done inside, but up to now it seems to pull no problem at all. And this is one of the models I've done with Locksound V5 inside a few months ago. So I'll get that hooked up. Right, I'm going to launch the schedule I've made up for this train to come out the big yard It's going to come out the big yard. Engines are starting up. Right, so what's going to happen? It's got its start-up procedure, then it's on hold for a couple of minutes until it's okay to go out. It's on a full automated run from this yard, and it's going to park up on the sidings about here. So it's on a full automated run with full clearance, and it won't go, if there's anything in the way at the destination block, it won't start. And it can only run along certain routes of this layout and certain sidings. You can adjust the wagon load left and right at each end, so it will avoid certain obstacles on the layout, like going in tunnels, etc. But I've not had to do that on this particular route it's running now. So let's have a quick ganders under the layout. So there we go. It's coming out through that extreme corner there. That's a really tight corner into the yard. Overhangs. It can push that wagon no problem, this Loco. That 1.6 kilograms of weight there. Just put a guy on the end there, maintenance, like a shunter guy. I'm going to get one for the other cab end as well. So that will go into a halt position about there. And then hold position. The points will close, open. 2 sets of points have opened. And then it's going to just gear up. We've got the rail squeak, which is controlled on the automation. It's going to go across this really complex junction here now. Building up speed. Probably going through a bit too fast there actually, I might slow it down a bit. Goes across all those double slips. 2 sets of double slips. A right hand point through the tunnel. It clears the tunnel okay, but even if it didn't, I could adjust the wagon load and do an offset on the wagon, and the wagon would still stay on the tracks even with the offset on each end of the bogies, like in real life. So it goes underneath the bridge there, just about clears that. What's different about this wagon is the load is wider and higher than any other load wagon that I've got. This is the biggest load that I've ever had working on this layout. A new route's been set on the automation, and it's just going to gradually build up to about 45 mile an hour in scale speed. Work its way around on the outer main line. And that is the top speed. I'm not making it go any faster than that, as it would do probably in real life. Around that bend. You can see the swing out. Got to make sure no other trains are running when this is operating. Otherwise it'll just crash into an oncoming train on a corner with the swing out. So that's it. It's going to do 4 circuits of the layout, and then eventually it'll stop. Or in fact it won't stop, it'll just run straight into the runoff siding. So I'll just cut the video here for a minute. Right, so a new route's been set, and it will eventually slow down. Apply rail grind, coming through the next curvature of the layout, the curvature of the track, etc. It's running very nice. So this Loco, I tried it with a Flashman BR 218, but it was struggling on the curves with it being 4-wheel drive. With this being 12-wheel drive, not a problem at all. So there we go, slows down. Around that bend, or the rail grind is not enabled for some reason, and then eventually it will come to a nice gradual graceful halt just before that point and around that area there. So let's see what happens here now. Hopefully it'll that's it, very nice. And then what will happen, the engines will shut down and that'll go into dormant mode. That's it, that's worked out quite nice. And on the next video, on these particular wagons, I'm going to compare the other ones I've got, which is a road going version of it, and the rail version of it, which is in the top of the screen there. And then I'm going to get out the other version I've got, which is, I didn't realise just how long this one is. It's huge. 23994 Trix. So get out all the Transformer wagons and compare them on the next video. So again, thanks for watching.